What's up everybody, Tim back here at Higgs Garage, and today, as you can see, we're going to be working on this 2001 Yamaha Grizzly 600. So this bike, I went ahead, I Raptor linered this thing way before I did YouTube, and cleaned up the plastics, put some wheels on it, some tires, did some stuff to it, but it has, unfortunately, a bad starter issue. So I'll demonstrate that here in a minute. Starter issue, we got a small oil leak, a carb issue, it's backfiring through the carb. We're gonna have to go ahead and diagnose that. I think it has something to do with the choke cable. Try to get this thing cleaned up, that way we can get back to riding it. This one, I didn't do any engine work to it other than I put an exhaust on it. Original one was rusted out, and I did put a carb on. The original carburetor was all messed up. We tried to clean it, we tried to rebuild it. It was unsalvageable, and I actually think that it was also an aftermarket one. From some point in time, it was not original. I cannot find a good original one or used original one for this, so hopefully it has something to do with the choke cable, which is what I'm thinking it does, because it's sometimes starting and running really rough when the choke is all the way on, but when it's off, it's not doing anything. And the choke cable, I can show you guys later, it doesn't feel right. We're gonna strip this thing down. Hopefully we can leave the engine inside the quad while we do all these repairs, and hopefully we can knock it out in this one video. I want to stop right here and say thank you guys so much for all your guys' support. Thank you guys for all of you guys subscribing, following along with all of our channel. Those of you that have supported us through our merch on our website, I want to say thank you guys so much. If you guys do want to go ahead, head over, get you guys a hat. We have a couple other items on there. We're going to be adding more, and we have more on that in the future that I'm going to reveal to you guys on what we're doing with our website and what we're going to be able to offer you guys. Make sure you guys are staying up to date on the videos, checking out the website, staying on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're mostly active on Facebook, so if you want to check it out, keep up to date, Facebook is the place to be. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps bring this channel up to where it is now and us to doing bigger and better things. We've grown so much, all thanks to you guys. With all that being said, let's hop back into this project. I think the battery may be dying, but see if you guys can hear. So this is what we're getting. Bad grinding. I'm hoping that it's only the starter and the Bendix gear inside of this thing that's damaged. Hopefully the flywheel and rotor and stuff like that is not damaged. We will find out once we get inside there. Let's go ahead. I'm going to move you guys closer. As you guys can see, we went ahead, we got the rack off. Now we just got a couple bolts down here and on the front, and then we can get this whole front plastic off of this bike. Show you guys too. So next part we're gonna attack is down here against this floorboard here on both sides. We'll get those bolts off, and then we should be getting pretty close. So we went ahead, we got the front plastics off, and now we are able to expose the engine and a little bit more of what's going on in here. I'm not worried about getting the starter and all that stuff on while it's in the bike. I'm just worried about how difficult it's going to be to get this gasket kit on, get this top of this head off and everything else. So we will see. Next thing's got to come off, the gas tank's got to come off, and then we'll get all of our pull start off. Our shifter needs to come all off. So that's next. So I wasn't thinking, and I separated that without having a catch pan, so yeah, made a mess. Separate this a little bit. So this bracket's on here, but this thing is so tight. Well, maybe we can get it off without that. It's the one I was looking for. Well, that will explain that. Let me get some zip ties and bring you guys down here. I'd say no wonder the starter wouldn't engage. Pieces of it are all busted everywhere. Good thing our rotor looks fine. Oops, sorry. Rotor looks good. So I was worried about that, but I don't think I need to be. I think it's all inside of this. The Bendix or something broke inside there. Next thing we're gonna need to do is pull this. Once we pull that, this will come out. We can go ahead and remove our starter. Then we also need our timing chain tensioner is over here. That needs to come out. We got to take this head off and replace all of our gaskets. But I'm tickled to know that this is all right. I was praying that that was not damaged. The rest of this stuff doesn't look too bad. Some really poor repair at one point in time. Somebody put a gasket on here with the old gasket and some black silicone. So we have fresh new gaskets for this thing. We'll get all of this taken care of the right way this time. Let you guys back up. I'm gonna try to continue. Bad part about this, those 3 bolts that I need, they are that you can use M8 by 125 by 150 millimeters long with like a puller, like a harmonic balance puller, I guess it is what it is. I'll have to look and see what I got. And they'll thread in there and you can pull it that way. You can see right here is the starter. There's 2 bolts that you guys cannot see that I'll be getting to remove that starter. I am going to attempt to get those out. All right, let's see if we can get in there. So I switched over to a 1/4 inch drive. Don't know if it's gonna be strong enough with a swivel. Okay, broke top one free. We're at a little bit of a standstill on getting that rotor off. Like I said, we got the starter removed. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna disconnect this exhaust, the header pipe here, and then we're gonna take this top brace off and we're going to try and remove this whole top end of this bike so that we can start putting all of our new gaskets that we have on the top end of this motor. We're having a little camera difficulty, but as you can see, we have the part of the head off. It is right here. It's held on by all these just Allen heads. I believe they are H5. So now we're gonna go ahead and remove all 4 of these head bolts, and hopefully we can get this top part of this head all the way off. Have that off. I need to go ahead before we get too much further, and I need to get this tensioner, this timing chain tensioner off, which is right here. All right, our tensioner is off. So it actually appears be pretty far out. I don't think it has any more adjustment. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that chain now. Pull our cam out. And our chain has now fallen down. Somebody was in here at one point in time, and this thing is pretty clean, surprisingly. It has 3,331 miles. And what I'm doing here, I'm just disconnecting this choke lever. We can set that carburetor all the way over there out of the way. All 4 of our head bolts are loose. Let's go ahead and get that spark plug out of there. That was new. Running really rich. We got 2 more down here that you guys are not gonna be able to see. So I'll be right back with you. All right, we're back. We got that one, it was just 1 bolt down there. And now it's looking like we should come off. And there we go. And that was a timing chain guide. It's got some wear on it from it hitting. And this is where we were leaking. Old gasket. Looks like a couple more, and then we'll pull this other one off to get to that other gasket down there. Wow. I think somebody just rebuilt this not that long ago. There we go. Piston looks awfully fresh. And this doesn't look OEM to me. There's the jug. This timing chain guide is all chewed up. It's trashed. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to find new timing chain guides. And I don't see any markings on this piston to tell me anything about it really. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna order timing chain guides, a couple other gaskets that weren't in the kit that I didn't expect that we would needed. So we're gonna grab those. We are gonna go ahead and might as well grab a choke cable, I'm guessing. And I think that we should be good. Might do a belt on it just because I don't know when the belt was done. And I was running it pretty hard when it was running, and I did smell a little bit of belt slippage. So we might replace the belt. I don't know yet. But we're gonna leave it off there. I'll put in those parts orders and then we will catch up when they show up. So we're back here at the garage on the Grizzly, and we got our parts in that we needed. A rotor and flywheel, kind of hard to see, it's on the packaging. It is a Yamaha OEM part. We got this the other day, planned on coming out here and getting this thing put back together. And the gaskets we had were for, I believe, a Grizzly 660, so they wouldn't work. So then we had to reorder and wait for gaskets. Here we are, we got the gaskets. We're gonna go ahead and try to get this thing assembled, put back together, timing chain, all new timing chain guides, tensioner, all that stuff. Hopefully we can get this thing finished up without making another parts run or order. We got parts, we have torque specs, and this is just a Yamaha Haynes manual. So we have that with all of our specs on it. So we are going to try and get all this stuff resealed, put back together, put back on the engine on the bike, get that all back together, and then we will go ahead and time and put our new timing chain on there and time that engine properly so that we can get the rest of the stuff all assembled and put back together. We'll adjust valves and hopefully we'll have a good running bike again. So down in here, there's a gasket or a little O-ring. This will need to go on here. And we went ahead and cleaned all of our surfaces up already. That we will be putting all new gaskets on. Just wipe them clean. All right. So that's gonna go on to there. You guys can see we have our O-ring and then we have our metal gasket. And this is gonna go back into the bike. Piston will go up inside here, and then we can go ahead and start bolting the rest of our stuff together. So let's go ahead and take this over to the bike, get it on, and get the piston inside the bore. So go ahead and pull our towel out of here. We had that just protecting from any type of debris. And the trick is going to be, because I don't have a spring compressor for this, for these piston, or a ring compressor, excuse me, for these piston rings, it's gonna be to make sure that, for one, let's double check and make sure they're lined up apart from each other. Yes, so our piston rings look like they're good. Timing chain out of the way. All right. Now, for the challenging part. Boom. All right, that was actually much less of a headache than I expected. Got that on there. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna go ahead and grab our head studs and we'll get that thing torqued down, get the torque spec. We're gonna go ahead and tighten these. And it says for the cylinder, M6 thread bolt, 86 inch-pounds, and for the nut, 30 foot-pounds. So the nut, I'm not gonna be able to get a torque wrench on, so unfortunately I'm just gonna have to tighten that with an open-end wrench and get it tight. We'll go in a crisscross manner. And then I'm guessing for those weird bolt nut things, that's what it's wanting for 86 inch-pounds. That's what we're gonna do. Set my wrench now. Okay, so, man, that's not very tight. All right, and then we're gonna cross on over to the other side. Then we're gonna go to this other front one, tighten it up. Man, that does not feel very tight. I think we might break the rules here and just tighten them up. We don't want to strip those though, because those things are like a cast aluminum, so you do want to be really careful with them. Let's just go over them again. Whew. That is not anything. I find that very weird, but that's what it says to do. Surface really good here. Just gonna put a little bit of oil down in there on that. Piston, barely putting a little bit of this around. This is just multi-purpose oil. I just don't want that to run on there dry, cause any issues. We got the head. Here it is. Get you in the camera. I'll go ahead and wipe this down. We've already cleaned this up. And it's just sitting on there. It's not down at all. We are getting to the point where we're gonna put our cam in and stuff like that. The issue we have now is our cam's gonna go in there. We're gonna have new timing guides, so we need to put the new timing guides in there, the chain and stuff all on, and then we can go ahead and put this cam, bolt that cam down and everything like that. Now this gasket surface here, it didn't come with a new gasket for that, and I looked and I didn't really see any for that. So what I'm gonna end up doing is probably what everybody else does, and I'm just gonna put a thin layer of silicone on this. I'm wiping it down now, but right before I put the silicone on it, I'll get a rag with some rubbing alcohol or some wax and grease remover, whatever, and get that all cleaned up. And we'll put a fresh coat of silicone on there to seal that valve cover up. And, well, the cam cover, I guess you'd call it. Cam, valve cover, whatever. Our cam is gonna actually sit in here just like so. We gotta get this oiler off this, I'll show you guys here in just a second, off the side of this engine so we can get the chain all the way off, new chain on, and then route it up in here. And then we need to time all this stuff with the engine being at top dead center and the timing marks. I believe that this cam shaft should have some timing marks on this gear. Yeah, it does. It's got some timing marks on there. So we will go over that on the timing here in a minute. We're gonna pull, kind of focus back down here on the side where the crank. What we're gonna have to do now, this is one of the old timing guides. Trash. There's another one in here. It looks like it's attached by 2 bolts right here. And then this oiler is attached by 3. So we'll go ahead and pull this oiler off, pull this timing cover off, get this chain off, get our new chain put on, get the oil cover put on with our new guides, and then we should be good to go. But then we can start getting our engine at top dead center, get all of our timing stuff lined up, and then we can go ahead and put some silicone on this valve or rocker valve cover, camshaft cover on the top, get everything tightened down to the right torque spec. We'll get our cover put back on with a new gasket. We'll go ahead and wipe this stuff down pretty good, and we will start feeling like we got a four-wheeler again. All right, everybody, I wanted to kind of take a second to show you guys how much stretch this original chain had. So this one in my right, or right here, is the new one. This is the old one. And there's a timing mark on this one right here. This one has a timing mark right here. Go ahead and put each timing link next to each other here. Okay, so it's hard for me to show you, but you guys can see there the difference. Old one was definitely stretched a little bit. We got the chain on there. Let me get this camera to look at it. And if you look, there's a little mark right there. Right there, those are your time marks. Those need to be flat with the gasket surface. And then behind this little cover, which comes off with this bolt, there's another one. That one points up. So that's how you know all three of those go like that. And of course, you do this with the bike at top dead center. We have our guides in here, one on this side, the other one here. Come on, camera. Here. We have our oil line back on, new timing chain in, sprockets on. We do need to put our tensioner, which is going to go here. We can put that in a minute. Right now, we're going to focus on getting all of our bolts, our head bolts, there's 4 up here, and then all the other miscellaneous bolts that need to go on this bike for the jug and the head are going to go on. Once those are on, we're going to come over, and we're going to go ahead and put our rotor on and our cover on the side with a new gasket. So all of that will be sealed up. I'm going to go ahead and do that stuff off camera. We'll get them tightened up, and then I will see you guys back here once we have this stuff all buttoned up. A few days, weeks later on this bike, we are almost all the way assembled. We had the wrong gaskets. They were for the Grizzly 660, not the 600. This bike is the 600. We had to wait for that. We got the gaskets in finally. We got our timing chain and magneto, rotor, flywheel, whatever you want to call it. We have everything in time. Everything's put back together. As far as the jug, the piston, the top of the engine, right now we're going through tightening all the other little bolts. There's one right here that I'm getting. It is for the intake. Then we have one more clamp on this exhaust that we got to tighten up. After that, we'll set our gas tank down and we will see if this thing starts. So we do got to add some oil because we did drain all the oil out. We were going to do a full oil change. We have a new oil filter for it, but we're going to hold off because this thing was taken apart for so long and has been apart and back together and apart and back together while we figured everything out. That we're going to go ahead and leave that old filter in there, put some fresh oil, run it for a few hours, and then we're going to drain it all out and then put a new filter and new oil in it. So right now, I'm going to finish tightening up these bolts, then we'll get this gas tank sit down here tightened up, and we'll try to crank this thing over. We are just going to go ahead and top this thing up with some oil. A little sight window down here at the bottom, and we'll watch that. Once we get it running, it's probably going to need a little more. All right, everybody, here it goes. We're going to see if it'll start. Okay. First start. It's got a little bit of chatter, but I think that once that oil works through that engine, it'll be much better. And guys, that smoke that you're seeing, I had to put some a little bit of grease on the gaskets for the exhaust to hold them in place, so that's just that grease burning off.
Fuel line?
Huh?
Did you connect the fuel line or just set it up there?
No, I connected it.
Okay. That'll do it.
better.
Way better.
All right, everybody, so that's gonna be a wrap today for this video. It took a couple days, actually, some weeks, but we got this thing looking great. It's all back together, it's running great. I can't be happier. We went ahead just to go over what we did because I know that the video may be a little bit confusing. We did put a new timing chain in it, new guides in it, new magneto rotor, whatever you wanna call it. We put fresh oil in it. We went ahead and off camera, we did check the valves, but they were all good. We put new gasket kit on it. Cleaned up a bunch of gasket sealer that somebody else had done on here before. And we even went ahead, threw on some rear wheel spacers so that these tires sit even with the front. And I think it was absolutely amazing. It should give it a little more stability. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys got something out of it. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you on the next one.